Welcome to Aligned AF, real talk for evolving souls with Yahweh Kent. Join Yahweh for honest conversations on spiritual growth, the messiness of life, and how to move through it all at a higher frequency. So grab a cup of tea and let's sail in. This is Aligned AF, and here's Yahweh.
There are moments in life that don't fit neatly into reason. A stranger's words that arrive with uncanny timing. A brush of warmth on your shoulder when no one is near. A story whispered to your heart that feels like it came from somewhere beyond. These are the moments that remind us the veil between the human and the divine is thinner than we think. But what happens when those encounters become part of your life's work? When angel stories aren't just rare sparks, but guided lights you collect and share and live by. My guest today, Christi Clemons Hoffman, has done just that. Through her book, Real Life Angel Encounters, through her healing work, and through her own lived experience, she carries the stories that prove the extraordinary, walks right beside us in the ordinary. Today, we're exploring what it means to live with one foot in the human world and one in the spiritual, and how to hold that balance without losing either side of ourselves. This is Between Worlds, Angel Encounters and Everyday Life with Christi Clemons Hoffman.
It's a great intro.
Thank you.
I was like, wow, this guest sounds really great. I wonder who it is.
I don't know. All right. Well, welcome back to the show, everyone. This is Aligned AF, Real Talk for the Evolving Soul. And I am Yahweh, your host with the most. And I am really, really excited for today's episode, not only because I am fascinated by the subject matter, but I get to share it with a dear friend of mine who I've known for coming up on 10 years now.
Wow.
And she's an amazing being and a great leader in the community, and I am thrilled to have her as a guest.
Oh, thank you.
Christi Clemons Hoffman, MA, BCHT, is the host of two acclaimed podcasts, the award-winning Real Life Angel Encounters and the Radiate Wellness Podcast. Through heartfelt conversations with authors, thought leaders, and inspirational guests like Dr. Raymond Moody, Dr. Eben Alexander, and Sheila and Marcus Gillette, Christi reaches a global audience hungry for meaning, healing, and connection. She's the author of Real Life Angel Encounters, Real People Share Real Stories of Angelic Encounters, and co-author of the best-selling wellness guide, The Gap, Simple Steps to Reclaim Your Health and Reverse Most Chronic Diseases. A longtime intuitive and level 3 QHHT practitioner, Christi is also a seasoned channel, a Reiki master teacher, and a spiritual coach. Her mission is to guide others in discovering the truth of who they are and the power they carry within. Christi lives in the Kansas City area with her daughter and their two beloved cats. A lover of history, languages, art, and culture, she brings curiosity and compassion to every facet of her work. Christi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Yahweh. I'm so happy to be here. I've been looking forward to being on this show.
So have I. I've really, really psyched that you said yes. And, we've had a couple of reschedules, but we finally got here. Yeah, funny thing how life gets in our way every once in a while, huh?
I know. I mean, today we had a little bit of a snafu, and you said, well, we can move it back to another day. I was like, no. I'm geared up for today. I'm looking forward to this. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So it worked out finally.
Well, I'm glad it did. So why don't you share a little bit about yourself, maybe that I haven't talked about yet, and then we'll get started.
Well, you pretty much got the high points. I've been doing this for a while now. So all of the crazy woo-woo stuff that I do, I started after I was laid off from Hallmark because I used to be a corporate person. And that happened in 2015, 2016. I knew what I wanted to do, and I wanted to start a wellness collaborative, a wellness business. And I started Radiate Wellness, which is the company, and we've got several practitioners with us, and we offer a variety of practices. And it just blends seamlessly with what I do with, I mean, an easy way to remember it is readings, Reiki, and regression. So I do a number of hypnosis modalities, most notably the quantum healing hypnosis technique, the QHHT.
Yeah.
So I'm most known for that. But I also do clinical hypnosis for smoking and weight loss and addictions and anxiety and that type of thing. And then introspective hypnosis, which is kind of an offshoot of QHHT, but it's got its own goals and its own things that it does. And then yeah, I'm a Reiki master and a medium, and all of those things. So yeah, but otherwise, pretty much got it all.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's interesting that you mentioned this started kicking in around 2015, and it occurred to me that of the interviews that I've done, and also including my own journey, 2015 seems to have been a big year because several of the people that I've interviewed have gone through major changes around 2015. And 2015 is when I sold all my shit and moved out here.
Wow. Okay, there's something to it. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember in 2012, I'm sure you remember this as well.
Yeah.
We were all talking about this spiritual awakening that was going on
Yeah.
around the planet, and, mistakenly thinking it was the end of time and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. But yeah, 2015 maybe is when we took all of that energy and put it into motion.
Yeah, and it seems like the Kansas City area had a really big energetic draw at that time. I remember we used to go to this place called Heart of the Dove all the time, and that it really drew people in because during a channeling session that Alara and I had, we learned that the Heart of the Dove wasn't the location so much, it was the people creating the energy for that location.
Right. And, I like to say you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a spiritual session, right? A spiritual practitioner in some way, because there's a lot of us here in Kansas City. It's a beautiful community.
There are, and I agree. And you're one of the leaders in that community, so I'm really psyched that you're here.
I am too.
All right, so I'm ready to jump right in. Can you tell us about, if you can remember, your first angel encounter and the moment that you became convinced that something larger was at play?
Oh my goodness, that's a heck of a question, Yahweh. It's like, when do you remember first going swimming? Or when do you remember first reading a book?
Mhm.
Right? So this is something that's been active and present in form of curiosity. But okay, so angel encounters. I will have to say, it's in my book, Real Life Angel Encounters. I was going through a very dark night of the soul at the time. This was like 2009.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah, it was like 2009. And I'm driving to my therapist's office, and I'm listening to a bunch of Abraham Hicks at the time. I'm driving and crying. Like I said, it was a really rough time. And I'm listening to Abraham, and I just said out loud, Abraham, you have to let me know if it's going to be okay. Please give me a sign that everything is going to be okay. Right then, you cannot make this up, Yahweh. This panel van pulled in front of my car. In the back of the panel van, it said, Abraham, the name you know, the people you trust. And there was no indication of what kind of business was it. Was it HVAC, electrical, plumbing? I don't know. No indication, no website, no contact information, no phone number.
Wow.
Just Abraham, the name you know, the people you trust. And it was a kind of a logo. And after my session, I went back to my office because I was taking, personal time to do this, and Googled that name and that tagline. Nothing that I could find about a business named Abraham with that tagline.
Wow.
So I knew then now that's an obvious, blatant sign.
Yeah.
Everybody looking for signs might not have one that's that obvious.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Though
Yeah.
it can be. It can be. And,
Yeah.
we all want those undeniable signs. But this morning I was talking with a person who had called in to have just a consultation. I'm not sure which service I need, so I thought I'd schedule a call and find out what you think. So we're talking and talking, and I happened to mention a red bird as the symbol for Dolores Cannon. And he just froze. And he said, "Did you say a red bird?" I said, "Yeah." He says, I can't even remember the significance, but it was deeply significant to him.
Yeah.
That he had just been talking to someone and he had asked to see a red bird. And here I am mentioning it.
Yeah.
So we never know what those signs are going to be in those confirmations. So we do have to keep our eyes open.
Yeah. That reminds me of, you've read Illusions, I assume.
Oh,
Richard
yeah.
Bach.
Richard
Okay.
Bach.
So
Yeah.
the manifestation of the blue feather.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he's waiting all day for a damn blue feather and nothing happens. And they're sitting around the campfire and he looks down at his container of milk and it's from Blue Feather Farms. And he's like, at first he's pissed because he's like, well, I wanted a real feather. And he said, well, you didn't really get specific, did you?
You didn't specify. No, it's that type of thing. Also in the book, there is a story of Angela, and her sister had died, and she wanted to have a sign from her sister. It had been a while, and she thought, I haven't heard from you, damn it. And she heard somewhere that you need to ask for a sign, but you need to be specific.
Yeah.
And she said, all right, this is what I want. I want a bluebird. Now, it was wintertime. And, there are no bluebirds really, maybe a handful in the Midwest.
Yeah.
She's driving to Parsons, Kansas to be with her partner. And she popped in a new CD. Who plays CDs anymore? This was like maybe 2-3 years ago. She pops in a CD that a friend had sent her of her favorite singer, Howard Jones. And this was Howard Jones playing live at some concert somewhere. So she pops in the CD, she's listening to the song, and here comes this lyric, like the bluebird, I'm free. And she just knew that this was her sign. Now, was it a bluebird? No. Was it a picture of a bluebird? No. This was a line in a song. The real kicker was this wasn't even a Howard Jones song. He was covering a David Bowie tune.
Oh, wow.
Lazarus.
Yeah.
So.
Lazarus.
Yeah, right? About Bowie's impending transition.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A really meaningful song.
Yeah.
Really
I want a message from my dead sister and it's from a song called Lazarus. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Exactly. It was completely random.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't even Howard Jones's song. Here it was appearing on the CD. Her favorite singer, her friend knew she would listen to the album all the way through. She had time to listen to it because she's driving to Parsons from Kansas City. That's over an hour. And she just knew that was her sign. There was another line in the song about the loo, the bathroom, and her sister died in the bathroom.
Wow.
So,
wow.
And so she just knew that this was a sign. And I could not put the lyrics in the book.
Yeah.
Because of copyright.
Right. But you feel free to talk about it.
I feel free to talk about it. And, she points out that there's another song that comes on after that was also a sign. And this was Howard Jones, like one of his very big hits. It was just a very affirming line and an affirming message for her as well from this album.
Yeah.
So just keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open.
Yeah, because you never know where it's going to come from.
Right. And I had been asking Abraham for a sign, and here was just the name on a panel van. It was not Abraham, for those who listened to Abraham Hicks. And it was not Abraham, but I knew it was my sign. A lot of us just know when we get these signs.
Yeah. There's an energy that shoots through you that it just removes any possibility of doubt.
Right. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. That's amazing. So now you've had these angel encounters yourself. People were telling you about angel encounters. What led you to not just experience these moments, but to begin collecting them and sharing them?
Oh, a 2x4 across the head.
Another sign.
Sign. So so here we are. Let's see. I started the Radiate Wellness Podcast, I want to say 2018. So it had been going on for a while when COVID happened. And since I can record on Zoom, it never stopped. And so we're like 1 year into the pandemic. I get a tap on the shoulder from my guides. You need to start another podcast. You know what we do when we get some of these inconvenient messages? I just said, no, I don't want to do that.
No.
They left me alone for a couple of days, and then they tapped me again and said, you need to have another podcast. So my answer this time was, about what? They said, about us. I said, well, I did a whole series on YouTube called 52 Weeks of Angel Connection. And because they, at that time, this was maybe 2017, 2018, they tapped me on the shoulder and they said, you need to learn YouTube. Do this series. It will help you. So I did the series and I said, isn't that good enough? They said, no, you need to hear from real people doing this. And I said, that sounds impossible. How am I even going to do that? So then the 2x4 comes up the side of my head and they said, look at Jim Harold. Jim Harold is possibly my favorite podcaster. And he's got this show called Virtual Campfire. And people are calling in with their campfire stories, the spooky stuff.
Yeah.
And my team said, that's what we're talking about. People need to know that real people, just like you, maybe just not just like me, but real people are having these experiences and everybody needs to know it. So that's how it was born. And I thought, okay, well, I've got a model for this. People will start sending me their stories. Well, I thought I'm going to be just as big as Jim Harold with this. Everybody's got stories. Turns out that it was a bit more difficult than I thought to find people who had stories and were willing to tell them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just it. So after about 40 episodes, I realized this is a lot of work trying to find people who have stories and want to tell them. So I put the podcast to bed. So I ended it after 40 episodes and I said, you know what, we're going to end this right now. And this was something I said to the audience in my last episode in the first season. I said, I'm going to end this podcast right now, but I'm going to leave the door open to bring it back in the future. Hopefully we'll get more stories to tell.
Yeah.
And so years went by, a couple of years, and my hosting platform for Radiate Wellness, which is mindbodyspirit.fm, it's a great network. And they said, you know, your real life angel encounters is getting more downloads than Radiate Wellness, even though there are no episodes. What would you think of bringing it back? And I thought, oh my gosh. I remember the days of having 2 weekly podcasts and a full slate of clients and running the umbrella business and being a single mom.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know that I've got the bandwidth for that. Spirit comes through again. Spirit says, do it every other week. So every week I have 1 podcast coming out. Every Tuesday, there's either Radiate Wellness or Real Life Angel Encounters. And that has been working wonderfully. So about the same time I decided to bring the show back, my guide said, you need to make a book. So, yep, we both got our copies.
Yay. It's
Fine.
in stereo.
Yours is-
And for those listening out there, go to YouTube and you can see what we just held up because it was a book.
That's my book. Incidentally, it's an amazing feeling to hold your book in your hands.
Yeah.
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 So the Real Life Angel Encounters, the book, takes some of the best stories from season 1, from those 40 episodes.
Yeah.
And then puts it into a viewable, reader-friendly format.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It all just, yeah. I mean, and it speaks to how important timing is to allow things to create.
Right. Absolutely.
And to keep your door open, to keep your heart open to the possibility of whatever it may look like down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, and I hated to put Real Life Angel Encounters to bed after 40 episodes because I love the podcast.
Yeah.
I love the Radiate Wellness podcast. And so this is a way for it to keep going and to do Radiate Wellness, which I also love.
Yeah.
But I knew that having a book to accompany the podcast and the podcast to accompany the book would be a great way to just really get the message out there.
Yeah.
Reach people that normally might not think of angel encounters, but so many people have them.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'll be talking to folks and they'll say, well, I've never seen an angel, but there's that one time my grandmother showed up, right? Or there's that one time that somebody showed up right when I needed them, and then when I turned around to thank them, they were gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And people don't realize what those moments are.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
The very first story that I ever put out on Real Life Angel Encounters was from Erin, who's also from Kansas City. She's a beautiful leader here in the Kansas City spiritual community. She tells the story, and it's in the book as well. She tells the story of going to Walmart. She had like 10 minutes to pop into Walmart, get something that she would need for a meeting she was going to at her son's school. And she was going to be stressed, but she thought she could make it. She goes into the craft aisle to look for what she was looking for, and there's this woman, this elderly woman, who's looking over, floral arranging things. And this woman says, "You look like you're in a real hurry, but could you maybe spare a moment and help me?" And Erin says, "Sure." She just felt this warmth and glow come over her that she needed to stay and help.
Yep.
This woman shared that this was going to be her first Thanksgiving without her husband because he had died earlier in the year. And she was going to do something a little different with the centerpiece for the Thanksgiving table. And she couldn't decide on what to fill the vase with. And so she asked Erin for some help. When they got talking and just really made a connection. And this elderly woman said, "I know you needed to be someplace else, but I am so grateful." I'm going to start crying. She said, "I am so grateful that you were here with me." And Erin said, "I know there is someplace else I need to be, but this is the place that I'm supposed to be right now." And the elderly woman said, "You truly are my angel." And Erin knew it was true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we never know.
No.
When we can either meet someone who fills that role for us, or we can be that person.
Yeah.
That angel for someone.
Yeah. And that really brings up another question for me, because so many people think seeing an angel means seeing a dead person.
Oh, no.
And it couldn't be further from the truth.
No, that's so true. That's so true. So the book is filled with, and the podcast is filled with, lots of stories of all kinds of different things that we maybe see a person in our dreams for years, and then we see them in the quote unquote flesh somewhere, although other people didn't see them. It can be we receive receive visits from aliens and think of them as angels because they're benevolent. It can be that we see our dead grandma, not knowing that she had passed. So it can be so many different things. And but you know what's not in there is actual sightings of angels with wings and a halo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's in the podcast. The first season, there's a woman who had 3 angels show up for her in her kitchen with wings, and she said they were huge. They completely filled the space from floor to ceiling. So that'll probably be in the next book. But most of the stories that get told in the podcast and in the book are things that you can't quite put a finger on.
Right.
There was a beautiful story of a woman seeing what she considers an angel in a convenience store at 4:00 in the morning. There was something extraordinary about this woman, very extraordinary about this woman. But did she have wings? No. So we have to get out of that mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it's got to be a certain way.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So you seem to live with one foot in a very spiritual current every single day. How do you keep yourself grounded in ordinary human life?
That's a challenge. That is definitely a challenge. People ask me that all the time because people, when they're going through a spiritual awakening, nothing is the same.
No.
It's painful. And then they realize my relationships are not what I thought they were.
Yep.
I no longer resonate with the work that I'm doing. I'm no longer relating to my life in the same way. There's a bit of a tumultuous period while we're getting our feet under us.
Yeah.
And my spiritual awakening, although it came in waves, there was, I'd say around 2012, 2013, no, earlier than that, like 2010, 2011, there was a plateau. I reached a platform. I reached another level of it. I've been going from there since. And it was painful, even though I had a very solid awakening unfoldment before then. It seemed like 2010, 2011, it just kicked it up a notch. And so, yeah, it can be a little disorienting to try to have one foot here and one foot there.
Yeah.
But my guides tell me all the time, we have to put the human in the human experience. We came here to be human and to experience all the ups and downs and pitfalls of being human and what that entails. So when we realize that, yes, while my mind and my preference would be to be out there somewhere, we need to be here. We need to be here. And having the tools to understand these greater truths, I think, can help inform our day-to-day life. And this is, I teach a Spirit Circle class. And in Spirit Circle, the whole point is to learn how to bring that spiritual aspect into our physical lives and to work in tandem with spirit.
Yeah. I think that's kind of the whole reason I started this podcast, because I personally, from experience several years ago, went through this time frame where everything was spirit. I was channeling, I was coaching, everything with me was about spirit. And I still had a job, and I still had a wife, and I still had a new baby, and I still had bills to pay and all that stuff. And my life had become so chaotic because I had dove into the spirituality so deeply that I actually became pissed off at spirit, saying, "What have you done for me lately?" And I became angry, and I shut it down and turned away for a while. And
what happened?
That's what happened to me. I just shut it all down. And that caused a lot of chaos, a lot more chaos in my life, because I was drinking. Alara and I were not cohesive, and you know how spiritual she is.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we actually separated for a while because all that was just pure turmoil inside me. And
Your
it
health.
took me coming back to spirit and learning how to do my shadow work and learning how to balance the spirit and the human, so that I could actually figure out what the right answers were and how to live in a way that was not only possible and less stressful and less uncomfortable, but actually joyful, you know? So yeah, that I can attest to that. You have to have that balance.
You have to.
And it takes a lot of work, and it's not always fun.
It's
But
not
you
always
have to do it, because
Well,
what's on the other side of it is joy.
yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something that I thought was really helpful, is that you were living in the spiritual way and then shut it off.
Yep.
We can shut it off. So when children are born, they're born with a very, very thin veil.
Yep.
And the veil is very thin. Now, growing up, it tends to close off when they're around 7 years old, but they can close it off even earlier. Or sometimes the children who are exceptionally intuitive and exceptionally well plugged in, that period will extend a bit. And the children can shut it off if it frightens them, if it frightens the people around them, if they are told that it's wrong or bad or devil or whatever, they can shut it off. But I never recommend it, because that energy has to go somewhere.
It does.
And it can go to mental health problems, insomnia, anxiety, alcohol use.
Yep.
Right? So,
and they continue having these experiences, and they start to think that something's wrong with them.
Yeah.
Because nobody's there to support them in it.
Right. Yeah, I was just talking with someone this morning about that,
Yeah. It's a
right?
tough one with our little guy. I mean, he's 8 now, and he doesn't have any choice but be surrounded by spirituality in this house. But we've encouraged him from day one, and he still will say, "Oh, I'm seeing orbs. Look at the green lights," or he knows that he's the king of manifestation. He knows that if I want something, all I have to do is say I've got it, and it'll show up. And damn it, if he's not right, he does. He manifests better than anybody I've ever met.
So-
Um, but we encourage it. We help him to understand. Not everybody's going to understand it, and that's okay.
Exactly. And for children, we also can teach them that it's okay not to tell everybody,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And you need to use some discernment as
Yep.
to who to talk to about this and who not to.
Yep. Yep. Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So, what would you say has been the most challenging part of holding this much energy and still showing up as a friend, as a partner, as a mom, or just somebody that has to make a run to the grocery store?
Oh boy. Boy, that's a really good question. So, relationships, I have to say, are hard because not everybody's on the same page. Now, the spiritual folks, they get it. But, my everyday type of people, my friends, my everyday type of friends, they don't always get it. And so just learning to rein this in and knowing what to say to someone and what not to say to someone. I know that we all signed up for all of the things that we experience in life, but not everybody's on that page. And I've gotten a lot of trouble from suggesting, wow, I wonder what you were thinking when you signed up for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
There are people out there that think you're blaming them all of a sudden.
right.
And
Yeah.
that's
Well,
not
you're
the answer.
blaming
That's not what we're doing.
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's a little tough. As far as running to the grocery store, oh yeah. Well, and this morning, we tried to schedule this call earlier today, but the dryer is on the fritz and someone had to come out to fix it and they weren't, able to tell me exactly when they were going to come out. So those type of things are frustrating. And so then I have to just kind of take that step back and go, okay, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Where am I feeling impatient? Where am I needing to adjust and shift my energy?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a challenge, and sometimes you just have to look at things and just laugh. It's like, yeah,
Yeah. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could live every day on our own schedules and not have to rely on somebody else's?
absolutely. Well, and
Yeah.
what's funny is that we had scheduled this call for 10 a.m. this morning,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, surely by 9:30 I'm going to know when they're going to be here. No, I didn't find out until 9:55.
Yes.
And it was just, you have to have a sense of humor about it. It's like,
Yeah, you
okay,
do.
we were not supposed to do this at 10. We're supposed
Yep.
to do this
Yeah.
later.
And there was actually a version of me couple of years ago, even, who would have been annoyed at shifting everything around
Right.
because I was not the most flexible human being in the world. And it didn't matter that it had something to do with spirituality. It was the human in me that would have probably done the reacting. So thank goodness for myself that I've done the work to learn flexibility and to just be open to whatever it's going to be. Because I knew that it would be a great conversation no matter what time it started.
Yeah. Can I just say, you are not the same person that I met 10 years ago.
No. No. And I'm going to take that as a compliment because
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of that person anymore. I honor him and I love him and he got me here. But yeah, I was very different.
You have the spirituality part of it down,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you have really integrated it and you're living it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing my best. Not perfect, but I'm doing my best.
None of us are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now for people who've never thought that they had an angel encounter, maybe, or maybe aren't sure what it is, you mentioned this a little bit earlier. What kinds of things should they be looking for?
All types of things. All types of things. Dreams, synchronicities, numbers, symbols, all types of different things. So Gosh, where to go down this rabbit hole? When I teach people to work in connection with spirit, we talk about what is your method of receiving? How do you get your intuition? Are you more a visual person? Are you more an auditory person? Are you a feeling or sense person? Or you just kind of have a knowing about you? And knowing how you tend to receive intuition is very helpful, because those are the ways you're going to receive these angel signs for the most part, right? So if you're a very visual person, you might see symbols. You're thinking of something, you're thinking of your dead grandma, for example, and then you see her favorite flower somewhere when you're thinking of her.
Yeah.
If you're more of an auditory person, you might be thinking of something. I'm thinking of taking a class, but I'm really not sure. You turn on the radio or your Spotify or whatever, and there's an ad for a college that has the program that you're looking for. If you're more of a feeling person, you walk into some place and all of a sudden you feel just welcome and warm and happy, then that's your intuition telling you there's angels around. If you're the knowing type of receiver, then you might have downloads just planted into your head. So the normal unawake person can go through life and they'll see these scenarios as coincidence or a fluke or I'm making it up. But someone who's really embracing this and hoping to have some sort of angel encounter will recognize it as, this is my guides. These are angelic beings who are trying to connect with me.
Yeah.
Right. So just keeping your eyes open, keep your mind open.
Yeah. And that can be challenging for some folks because they're surrounded by people who think that way. Kids growing up, teenagers, young adults who say, hey, I saw this, I thought it was weird, or this happened and I felt grandma near me. And so many times people will say to them, well, that's not real, or that's just a coincidence, or whatever it might be. And they start to believe what other people are telling them instead of what they're feeling in their hearts.
Exactly. Yahweh, this is why I started the podcast and wrote the book. It's because I am on a mission of world domination. My mission of world domination is twofold. One, to let everybody know that we're not alone, ever.
Yeah.
You're never alone. Two, to let everyone know that without a doubt, there is more to you and more to life than you think is possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And I want to reach everyone so that no one has to hear, oh, you're just making that up. That's just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So leading into that, what practices could people use to help stay open to the possibility of divine presence without needing to force it?
Meditation. Yes. That's a really great way to stay open and open your mind. Now, the thing is that a lot of people approach meditation with certain expectations.
Yeah.
And these are not necessarily going to be helpful for us in the long run. Now, I used to teach meditation at Hallmark headquarters, yes, where I got laid off from, and TVH World headquarters or North American headquarters in Olathe. And these were business types. And, if they can learn meditation, anybody can.
Yeah.
But it's much easier to start off with something that's going to be manageable. A lot of people think I'm going to start a meditation practice and I'm just going to sit and quiet my mind for 30 minutes. Oh, 30 minutes is a long time.
Yeah, it
right?
is.
Try 3.
Yeah.
When you get really good at 3, go to 5. And when you get really good at 5, go to 7 and then 10 and then 15 and work your way up. That's one thing.
Yeah.
The second thing is that a lot of people love guided meditations, and I do too. They're beautiful. They're lovely. And that's wonderful when you're starting out. The gold standard of meditation is just to sit quietly. Now, if you've got music that you like, that's fine.
Yeah.
I actually had someone at Hallmark tell me, oh, well, I'm getting ready to practice this at home, and I've got my cushion, I've got my sound bowl, my singing bowl, and I've got my CD of music. And I said, honey, all you need is a place to sit and you. That's all you need. You don't even need to sit. All you need is you. All you need is you.
Yep.
So, we can listen to music or something, but the gold standard of meditation is just to still the mind. Now, We cannot shut the mind off.
Right.
Right. We can't stop our lungs and we can't stop our heart, but we think we can stop our minds. Not so. But we can just quiet it. We can turn down the volume. We can dismiss the random thoughts that are coming in all the time. So when we get really good at this, at quieting and stilling the mind, that's when we're more receptive and more mindful of what's around us and the input that we're getting. Now, the goal of meditation is not to be in touch with our higher self or our guides. That is a beautiful byproduct of it. The goal of meditation is to still our mind so that we can be working with spirit.
Yeah. Yep. You mentioned music because I used to teach meditation as well. And for those that have said to me, I just can't sit in the silence, it's too much. Or there's so much life noise that finding a quiet place is nearly impossible. Then what I always recommended to folks was to find ambient music or to use binaural beats. Because if you're listening to this beautiful classical music, your mind is going to follow the music and it's going to look for patterns naturally. And then pretty soon you're just thinking about the music and you're not thinking about anything else, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's not what you're looking for initially. So I personally use binaural beats because there's zero pattern. It's just sound, and it's usually at one frequency, which is great because there's no changing in the energy that you're dealing with. It's just there. It's 435 megahertz and it's going to stay there. You know what I mean? So that's always a good recommendation to folks who are trying to meditate. Wow, I just got a flash of Yoda with meditation. Do or do not. There is no try, because the harder you try to meditate, the less meditation you're actually going to get.
Right.
Just allow it. Just allow it. I love that you pointed out the steps of taking shorter amounts of time, because what people don't realize is that 5 minutes of meditation is better than no meditation at all.
Absolutely. Well,
And
and being consistent with it.
yeah,
Same time of day,
yep,
same type of thing that you're doing, whether it's at your office or in your bed or just being consistent.
yep. Yep, I agree. I personally, with my meditation practice, when I go out into the world, I take these little snippets of meditation along with me. Like
Yeah.
when I'm at the grocery store, I go to the longest line. And then I just give myself a couple moments of meditation, a couple moments of peace. Or I have an amazing conversation with somebody, which is fine too. But I don't try to always be in a rush. And just slowing yourself down for that moment is meditative on its own.
Yeah.
And then to just take that moment and not be annoyed and not be pissed off that everybody's in a hurry, to not be annoyed with the person who's still writing checks or counting out pennies. Life's too short to worry about that stuff. Take a moment and breathe.
Just breathe.
Yeah.
Some of my best meditations back when I was working at Hallmark, we had a parking garage, and then where my desk was, and it was a mile from the parking garage and it was like underground. You weren't getting any Wi-Fi, much less cell. And so there was no checking your phone for anything, just walking.
Yeah.
And there was artwork, because there's artwork all over Hallmark, but artwork along the halls. And I was just really enjoy the art and pay attention to my footsteps and just clear my mind.
Yeah. The footsteps I can never get his name right. Thich Nhat Hanh?
Oh, Thich Nhat Hanh.
Yeah. And his footstep meditation, where all you're paying attention to is your step.
Yep. That's why I say all you need for meditation is a place to sit or not. Anything that you do with mindfulness becomes meditation. Walking,
Correct.
Eating,
Dishes.
raking the leaves. Dishes. Yeah. Shower.
Yeah. We have the skylight over our shower, and at a certain time of day, the sun comes through. And even if I've showered, I'll take a moment and get in the shower and just have a sun shower at the same time. And it's not about getting clean at that point because it's now 1:30 in the afternoon. It's just about being rained on by sunshine for a few moments. Oh, it's
That's
beautiful.
wonderful.
Beautiful. Yeah, when I discovered that one day, I was like, oh,
Oh,
yeah.
game changer.
Oh.
Yeah.
So let me ask, if there's, getting back to your book, if there's one thing you hope someone would take away from your book, what would it be?
That we're not alone, that there's miracles that abound everywhere. And I think it was G.L. Chesterton, who was a geologist or something, who said, we can look at things in one of two ways, as if everything is a miracle or as if nothing is a miracle. And that's what I hope that people will come away with from the
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
is that everything can be a miracle. And there's a spirit, we're literally swimming in spirit soup.
Yeah.
And all we have to do is allow, like you said, just allow.
Yep. Yep. Oh, Christi, this has been great. I think we could probably talk for hours and hours and hours. I would
Hmm.
like to give you an opportunity to share anything that's going on in your life, any workshops coming up, or psychic fairs that you might be at, where they can get your book, whatever you can share with us.
Absolutely. So first of all, I'll share that my website is radiatewellnesscommunity.com. You can find the book there. You can find the podcasts, both of them there. So I would hope that everybody listens to the Radiate Wellness Podcast and Real Life Angel Encounters. We are literally wherever podcasts are found, including YouTube, and you can find us anywhere. And then as far as what's coming up, I've got my book tour. So let's see, this weekend I will be in Springfield, Missouri. The weekend after that, I will be in St. Louis. I'm going to be speaking at, for those in Kansas City, I'll be speaking at Crescent Springs in October. I want to say October 18th, which is October 18th. And I will be actually doing a workshop where you can meet your guardian angel and receive messages and insight from your guardian angel. So that's at Crescent Springs in Overland Park, Kansas. And then I'm also working on getting into a bookstore in Omaha to do a book signing there. I just recently completed one in Clinton. And then I will be at the Mystic Fair at the Hy-Vee Arena in Kansas City the weekend of October 24th. So those are some of the things I have that I've got coming up.
Fantastic. Christi, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining me today. As we close today's conversation, I'm reminded that angel encounters aren't just stories from someone's life. They're invitations. Invitations to look again at our own moments of synchronicity, our quiet nudges, the warmth that arrives when we need it the most. Christi's journey shows that the extraordinary is not separate from the ordinary, but woven through it, just as the divine is woven through our humanity. May we carry that awareness into our daily lives, letting it soften our edges, open our hearts, and remind us that we are never walking alone. Thank you, Christi, for your light, and thank you all for being here with us in this space of wonder and truth. Until next time, thanks for hanging out, and remember, you're getting closer to Aligned AF every single day. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. If this episode spoke to you at all, share it with a friend or someone who needs it. You can also leave a review or connect with me online. You can find Aligned AF on YouTube, Facebook, your favorite podcast channel, or at alignedaf.org. And if you want to reach out directly, you can email me at alignedafpodcast@gmail.com. So until next time, stay aligned AF.